Hey guys, Jason here again. This time on the channel, I'm planning to replace these NAF bonnet pins because this car doesn't have a bonnet catch for some reason. I don't know why they took it out and put these NAF looking pins in, but yeah, these are wank. But I do have these. This is a bonnet I was working on the MX-5 ages ago and I haven't used it. I don't have an MX-5 anymore, so I'm thinking I have these, right? These are nice, proper aero catch ones. These will actually latch and they look a lot better, but they do need to be recessed in like this, and we need to try and do this nice recess on the fiberglass body, not the body of the bonnet. Let's get started. Right, we're back and we can do this two ways. We can recess it like this, which is nice, but if we mess this up, we can fit it like this and be done with it. I don't think this looks that bad, but I do think it looks nicer like that. So if we can get it done like that, happy days. If we can't, we'll do it on the top. So I think to do this, it might be easier just to bring the bonnet into the shed. And to get the bonnet off, it shouldn't be too hard, I don't think. So we need to disconnect this and 4 bolts, and we should have a bonnet off. And then we're obviously going to have to trim back all this garbage here. Use a bit of strength probably, but we'll try and reinforce it somewhere if we have to. Hopefully it won't be too bad. This is obviously where the original one was. Someone put a bit of duct tape over it and painted it black. I bet they've even put a bit of cardboard or something in there. Oh no, it looks something a bit more solid than cardboard. So I'm going to get this bonnet off and then we'll go inside. Well, I have this off. I don't know if it's a good idea or not now, but this would have been so much easier to do this car, but I think if I had just taken the bonnet off at the time. I might leave the bonnet off to do the electronic ignition, because it's just so much more light. That's class. Right, anyway, back to the job in hand. Have it on the table here. I think the best thing to do here would be follow this line. So we're going to run the square down this line and draw a line on the bonnet here. Because I think if we had something to follow, it would be a lot nicer. Saying that, we'll see how it looks when we put a catch on it. You know what? That'll probably be okay. I did keep the instructions for that for so long, and I think I threw them away not too long ago. I managed to install a cardboard from the one on the bonnet. I then cut it out. I didn't like the cut on this side, but this side was nice and tight, so I cut it right down the middle. And then my line that I drew from with the square from there to there, I then lined that up to there. Drew around it on one side, flipped it, drew around it on the other side, and it looks pretty good. Same on this side, but this side here, this hole here is a wee bit out. So whoever fitted these before didn't even measure anything, because if you go from that, there's directly in the middle of that one, whereas in this one it's pretty out. So I think they're going to look okay. I think they're straight. I think as long as I follow this line, it's not going to look too bad. I could probably, if I follow this line, I could angle it, but I think straight would look better. I hope straight looks better, because if I don't, I've scrapped my bonnet. But it's not going to be the end of the world because this thing is horrible anyway. But we'll leave it for now because we just want to get this on the road. So I'm going to cut this out now. Hopefully it's going to be okay. And I'll be back with you. I'm just going to use a jigsaw to start it. And then, maybe not even a jigsaw. I might use my handheld wee body saw, aero-powered body saw to cut that out. And then go around it with the die grinder. But I'll get a rough cut here and see what it looks like. Well, I don't think it's going to work recessed in because the bonnet is actually quite thick. Also, I lost a lot of paint around the outside for some reason, but the bonnet is so thick that it kind of recesses down too far. I think it looks kind of stupid. Also kind of hard to get it mounted because the fiberglass on the back of this isn't flush like a way a metal panel would be. But it can mount it on the top. And yeah, it's a bit bulkier, but it hides the cut and hides the paint chip and everything, so I think we'll just put it on the outside and pretend that that's the way it's meant to be. This one over here, I didn't spend too much time cutting this out and making it on as nice as that one, mainly because the bolt holes down here were just on my line for where I needed my thing anyway, so our marks on this here line up to our lines and we're good to drill the holes to bolt it down. Got the bonnet back on. These don't look too bad, don't look too out of place compared to the rest of the car, but we need to figure out a way of putting these wee rods in now that catches it, and these was the hole before. This is where I need to put my hole, but that's not going to work, so I'm going to make a metal plate that I can bolt on here, put this through, and then we can cut these rubber things to the right length and the bonnet will sit on it rather than the way it was before. It was like dipped down in. So that's my plan now. I'll make these brackets up and come back to you and show you what they look like. We know that this line here is the center of our bonnet catch, so I've marked it here on the body and here on the body. So now we can pull this up, and I didn't show you my brackets out. There's my brackets I made. So they're going to sit there like that, there and there. I really thought this was going to go a bit further. I didn't check this side, so I might have to trim this one down a bit just to make it look a bit nicer. But they're going to sit like that, and I'm going to try and pretty much cut away the lip and tuck it underneath, so all you'll see is two bolts and this wee bit sticking out, and that should be pretty effective for what we need to do. So let's get this done. We now have these mounted, and what I'm going to do now is take them off again. I'm going to round out where these holes were before, and that should give us enough access to bolt these down, hopefully. It is now time for the screw part. We have these all bolted down. They've got these knots down as well, and we now have to try and get the holes in the right place. But if the guy before me could do it, sort of, I might be able to do it. So it's sitting in the right place here. These lines seem to line up. What I'm going to do here is try and use this long tip marker and and work with that. And hopefully this one here is a lot better. So maybe do this one first. That one there seems to be quite messy. I may actually do that one again. I'm going to drill that hole and that hole, cross my fingers and hope it works. Right, I think this looks a lot better than those other clips that were in there. I really wish they were recessed, but we obviously can't do that. I do need to get myself another couple of bolts, but I've left 2 out there and I haven't drilled the holes for them so the water can't get in. Not that that's going to make a whole lot of difference in this, but yeah. It is pretty good. So when you do that there, you still have to push it down to latch it because of the wee rubber bits here, just to stop it bouncing about. I don't know if that's normal or not. Maybe I should trim these down a bit more, I'm not sure. I might trim this bracket just so it's kind of like this one, so it kind of comes out like that there. I probably could have made these a lot smaller, really. I can bring these down, but I don't think they're going to get in the way for now, so I'm going to leave them both the way they are. So putting it back down again. Yeah. Right. Nice and sturdy. The line's all good all around here, apart from on this side here. See where like it's dips down there a wee bit. The bonnet's probably worked from just being sitting recessed down in there for so long, but it sits a bit high there. I tried putting a bit of heat in it, but it just didn't seem to want to go, so I'm just gonna leave it. Maybe it'll settle itself. But yeah, that's how I installed aero catches on my 78 scimitar. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you again in the next one.